Tesla owners are seething right now, so Elon hasn't been saying or doing very agreeable things, and as a result, the point is, Tesla owners are now embarrassed to be seen driving their own car, with many of them attempting to debadge or even rebadge their car into something else, like as if we couldn't tell from the most boringly overly smooth wannabe futuristic design that your car is still a Tesla, especially the Cybertruck. Like, no amount of rebadging is going to disguise that. So instead, many of them are lying on their belly and surrendering any ties to having pride in owning their car by adding a sticker. This now viral sticker saying, "I bought this before Musk went crazy," is finding its ways onto many Teslas near you, and it's gotten so much recognition to the point that even other car companies, especially like Kia for example, have posted it on their official social medias dunking on this Tesla meme and putting this sticker on their EVs too. There was a point in the mid 2010s where if you tried to criticize Elon Musk or Tesla, you were basically ending your entire career. The brand and the man were just that untouchable, and that really lasted up until 2019 still. I used to have to tiptoe around these MFs all the time in my early YouTube days, and if I ever misspoke something as simple of a 0-60 by even a few fraction of a second, I'd have all the fanboys come and flame me non-stop until I had to edit it out of those videos. Point is, they were basically cultists who worshipped Elon Musk. That's what really made them different than a fanboy and fandom. But now the long-awaited time has finally come when I can finally make a video, not just me too, several people can make videos outing Tesla's and repeated incompetency, and even the owners of the cars themselves will be willing to understand where I'm coming from because they're finally realizing that, you know what, I'm starting to see what you guys mean by this product isn't the bee's knees anymore. Hallelujah for this understanding. This is why Tesla stock is crashing hard. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on this aspect since I'm not a financial advisor, but the reality is this does affect Tesla's brand longevity, as it was mostly a non-stop consistent year-over-year gain until this massive dip now, and I mean massive. This dip was so massive that you can fit multiple automotive companies' net worth inside of it. That's how bad it is. We all thought EV cars were the future. For many automakers and city infrastructure designers and even consumers, we're realizing that EV cars aren't going to just de facto replace cars by 2025, and wow, would you look at that, it's already 2025. Remember in pre-quarantine era when a lot of cities and states were thinking about enacting like electric car only sales from 2025 onwards? Like, we thought it was some mystical faraway year. Well, to all the kids who grew up playing Black Ops 2 like me, we are now in the future that was in the setting of that game, and trust me, it's not nearly as cool as it was depicted there. At the rate that we're going, many states have even rolled back the 2025 to now 2030, and some even 2035, and some just dropping the expectations altogether and realizing that there may not be a future where EVs are a hardcore requirement. And this changing expectation of the future has basically shot most of tech bros' dreams right in the knees towards the whole buy EV stock, instant growth mentality. So I'm actually kind of okay with how Tesla, which was one of the most overly pumped one, overly hyped one, basically got humbled, because it made people realize that we were already playing with a house of cards when it came to the topic of EV vehicles. Now, of course, it's not like I hate EVs. I understand that for quality, affordable commuter cars, they still make great sense. Unfortunately, Tesla really struggled with the affordable and quality part, but thankfully, many other manufacturers have not only caught up to them, but even surpassed them. The reality is, competition has drastically increased from the early days of Tesla, and really just even from a decade ago. Like in 2014, it felt like Tesla was unstoppable, and then now, more than 10 years later, we're now starting to see that they are very much stoppable. And that's not me just trying to sound cool. In the EV markets that are still growing around the world, Tesla sales are still failing by huge percentages either. We're talking 60 to 80% down. It's just incredible. And even in China, which is one of the largest EV markets in the world, where actually they're still really likely to buy EVs, Tesla is still dropping massively. They're getting completely mopped on the floor by BYD. And funnily enough, this mostly just has to do with BYD delivering on Tesla's broken promises. What broken promises, you may ask? Well, Elon has made many broken promises over the years, and again, I'm so grateful that he no longer has this like greater than thou untouchable godlike aura around him, because I was one of the first people calling like, why does he the guy who will say he'll do something, but then 5 years later we still don't have something? And people looked at me like I was crazy. But here we are finally realizing that there comes a point where if you keep failing on these broken promises, there will be other companies that will find the gaps in your armor and take advantage of it. Over and over, he promised full self-driving. And I really do mean over and over. Like,
next year will probably be 90%. We're probably only a month away from having autonomous driving, at least for highways,
by the end of next year. We're talking maybe 18 months from now.
Autonomous robotaxis for Tesla next year.
Next year. I mean, it's looking quite likely that it will be next year.
And finally, the Tesla Roadster. Do you remember this car? The car that tech bros would pull out of their back pocket in every argument regarding hypercars. They still do, in fact, where they're just like, Bugatti and Koenigsegg, you like them? You're such a normie. Well, the Tesla Roadster is gonna kick its butt. Who cares about your mythical unreleased Roadster? We already have the Rimac Navara. It gets a quarter-mile time 1 whole second faster than the Bugatti. Yes, of course, it doesn't have the literal highest top speed that the production car Bugatti has in the world, but Matteo Rimac has been cooking under Tesla's shadow for way too long. It is about time people actually look at that shadow and bring it to the light. We gotta get some of these dumb tech bros to leave their stupid California bubble and realize that EVs not only do not revolve around Tesla, but Tesla themselves are now falling behind in the very market they once pioneered. Like, let's look at self-driving again. Tesla self-driving still makes many mistakes. We've all seen multiple videos at this point, even from big creators like Marquise Brownlee, or several other videos very recent from just 2 to 3 years ago, still showcasing how Tesla FSD, so full self-driving, that's what that stands for, still runs stop signs, it still rolls forward at stoplights, or mistakes a train as a row of semi-trucks and it thinks it can find a gap between them. That is the most terminally car-brained thing ever, where it can't fathom the existence of a train. It still can't identify motorcycles properly, and it assumes it's just a faraway car and it won't brake in time.
My theory is that all the computer saw was 2 glaring orbs, close together and close to the horizon. It labeled this a distant car, so it hit our imminent motorcycles.
And it's because it thinks a motorcycle is a super far away car. It's gotten to a point where several motorcyclists, including myself, and I now have to preach this to my friends, because as these cars are becoming more and more common on the road, it's one of those things where unfortunately we have to plan around them. Basically, we have to have minimum 3 or 4 brake lights, because if you just have 2 brake lights, it thinks you're a far away car. But why should us motorcyclists have to shoulder the extra money burden instead of making the Tesla engineers fix their mistakes and stop worshiping them like they're some sort of genius gods, because they're clearly not. Many countries around the world that aren't designed by terminally car-brained American traffic engineers, there are these things called bicycles, mopeds, buses, trams, and trains. Ooh. And speaking of BYD, they also make a supercar, like Rimac. I know that I still will get some bowmongs who are going to say, but Bladed, the average person doesn't need a supercar. They're pointless to make. Who cares? No. Why did America go to the moon? To pick up a coffee? No. It was to show our unity and power. Why was the Tsar Bomba made and dropped? It was a warning to humanity to stop being destructive, and shortly after its deployment, it proved a point to stop escalating nuclear weapons testing. We humans showcase the pinnacle of our achievements, even if it's just for a short time in limited quantities, because it demonstrates our capability. In that same vein, when a company bands together to make the best of the best product possible, it doesn't matter if they only make just 100, 400, or 1,000. If a company can make a supercar or even a groundbreaking hypercar, then they can make one hell of a normal car, which is again why many EV manufacturers who have started making supercars can also easily make affordably priced and quality made commuter cars for the general public. The technology from developing those supercars will trickle down. And then when you apply this logic back to Tesla, we can see why Tesla struggles to make quality and affordably priced commuter cars. Because even at the peak of their operations, they have yet to make a single supercar that they promised 5 years ago. That is what a supercar represents for a company. It's like the final exam for automotive companies. Sure, you can do great on midterms, you can do homework, and sure, homework may be a more frequent assignment, but the final exam can still account for a large portion of your grade. And a supercar in this case accounts for a large portion of Tesla's reputation. The point is, despite being the company that pioneered EV cars into the mainstream, you would think Tesla's Halo car would be better than any of the current EV competitors, because duh, if they brag about being on the bleeding edge innovation, show me it. Talk is cheap. If they made a car better than Rimac, if they made cars better than new emerging competitors like BYD, I would take Tesla at face value. And it would definitely, more importantly, it would showcase in their lineup, where if they made such a cool roadster, all their other cars will slowly become better as a result of doing R&D for such a high-end capable car. Yet somehow a company that as young as BYD makes hypercars now, but we have crickets from Tesla. You can't sit at the big boys table and go, yeah, I make the most advanced stuff possible, but not actually have anything to actually prove that or back up that phrase. That's what I really mean when I say a supercar is more important than people think. Do not focus on its low production or its lack of usability for day-to-day driving. It is not your daily homework. It is the final exam you study for. That's the mindset. You want to do America proud? Make something on the bleeding edge of performance again. That's what your company originally used to do to garner all the hype that it did. It's kind of funny that the company that started off making a Tesla Roadster, that was one of their first cars ever, maybe their rebirth is gonna hinge on them finally making the second Tesla Roadster. Although part of me thinks that they're just going to completely not do that and continue to make more broken promises. You know, I'm not exactly gonna place any bets in favor of Tesla right now. But anyways, Tesla's reputation has likely been changed forever, as like the main customer base of this product has finally been alienated from its creator and disenfranchised from the brand image. And again, other EV buyers who weren't really cultists or fanboys of Elon, who just wanted a bleeding edge product, are now starting to have their eyes open to fellow competitors, where they're like, yo, other companies are now offering really good EV cars, and more importantly around the world, especially because for some reason America doesn't get all the cool EV cars, only other countries around the world do. But around the world, it's even more noticeable how behind Tesla comes to quality and performance and, you know, bleeding edge, and also affordability. That's a really important factor. So other countries really don't think of buying Teslas regarding EVs. But in America, it was like a hand-in-hand thing. You talk about EVs, Tesla owners would just come out of nowhere, crap on everyone, car Nissan Leaf stupid. As a whole, and their cultism behind it has actually set back American EV progress, because had we been getting the smaller, more compact, more affordable EV cars, the infrastructure would have advanced further because more people would have been driving them, which would make cities and companies have more incentive to start spending money into designing infrastructure as well into certain locations to accommodate them. But because it was kind of seen as only a few people can do it, it's for the super rich, ooh, we love the environment, ooh, it's a Tesla, ooh, it costs $100,000. You know, for 5 or so years, maybe even 7 years, that kind of worked. But then finally, when a lot of these companies were like, yeah, you know, building all these supercharging stations wasn't really that profitable. Because near me, by the way, I've already seen 3 supercharger stations get disassembled. Point is, this probably might not be the death of EV. I'm hoping it's just a rebirth in how we view EV as a whole. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and share it to your annoying tech bro coworker who makes Teslas his whole personality. Trust me, you have at least one of these guys in your friend groups. If you love automotive content, make sure to subscribe, and thank you all for watching. See y'all next time. Blade Angel out.